So good morning. Welcome to the Tuesday at 10, the last one for January. Can you believe it? January's almost over, and we're almost on our way um, to February. So here we go. So a couple of things that I want to talk about. Give you first of all updates on NAR, IAR, and MIBOR, like always. And it seems like there's always something to talk about nowadays. And I ran across some information. This is a newsletter that I get from Houseo, which is homes.com. I don't know that they're a real friend of realtors like they claim to be, just like Zillow claims to be a real friend of realtors. I think if they could get rid of us, they would. But they do have an interesting newsletter, and they follow all the lawsuits that are going on. And they just had an event. Income had an event that they have on an annual basis, and they had some lawyers there. They had Ed Zorn, who's the general counsel at CRMLS, and Jessica Edgerton. She's chief legal officer at leading real estate companies of the world. And they they urged agents to stop practices that would put them at legal risk. Now, mostly we have stopped that in our market, but this was at the Inman Connect New York meeting. But here's basically what they had to say. First of all, stop commission sharing. That has been stopped in our market. So there is no broker to broker commission sharing anymore. There's no form for that. That is not to take place in this market. There's no forms for that. There's no provision for that anymore. So sharing commissions between broker to broker is not allowed. Okay. And but in some markets it still is. So some markets haven't done what the Indiana Association of Realtors did, which was take away that option. We used to have a form where brokers could share commissions still, and you filled out that form. But that form has been eliminated, and we are not to share commissions that way. The one of the main reasons for this, and one of the reasons for the buyer lawsuits that are yet to be litigated, they believe that causes steering. So when a buyer's agent knows how much a seller is willing to pay, then the buyer's agent can steer to higher commission properties. Not that they always do that, but they certainly can. And so the practice of calling an agent and asking what commission is your seller paying, how much, that's really not a good practice to have, because that could lead to steering, or at least lead to the accusation of steering. In other words, only steering a buyer towards properties that have a higher commission rate. So basically, what we do now is it's negotiated in the purchase agreement. So we negotiate in the purchase agreement. There's no reason to call the buyer's agent or seller's agent. I'm sorry. There's no reason to call the seller's agent. You could call the seller's agent and just ask them, hey, is your seller willing to pay compensation to a buyer's agent? Yes or no? And if they are, great, we'll submit our offer, and that will be included in the offer. It might be good to know up front that whether or not the seller's willing to do that. If the seller is told the listing agent that no, they will not share any commissions, then you'll know that before you write the offer. Still write the offer, but at least you'll know what you're facing there. And you can have that frank discussion with your seller or your buyer of whether they want to look at that property. So, and also we need to have clear communication with listing agents, with their seller, so that the seller understands, hey, we're probably going to receive an offer that asks for us to pay the buyer broker commission. Now, you don't have to pay the buyer broker commission if you don't want to. But if you're willing to pay a buyer broker commission, please let me know, because if an agent asks me, then I can convey that you're willing to pay a buyer broker commission, and we'll see what that commission is in the offer. So what we'll do is evaluate offers that we receive based on the net proceeds to you as the seller. And so if we get multiple offers, obviously you will select the offer with the highest net proceeds to you, and that would include whatever we're paying to buyer's broker for commissions or compensation. So you need to have that conversation with sellers so that they understand that hey, even though we don't do commission sharing anymore like we used to, where half of the commission goes to the other side, we're not doing that anymore. Now what we're doing is when we get an offer, the buyer broker will be asking us for compensation, and we can decide whether we want to pay that compensation based on the offer and based on what's going on at that point in time. So we want to make sure we have that conversation with our sellers so they understand the difference, but they also aren't surprised when they get a request from a buyer to pay buyer broker commission. And then the final thing, which is interesting that they brought this up, is they suggest that you follow the clear cooperation policy, because that violating that could lead to antitrust lawsuits from buyers or buyer agents who are denied access to listings. In other words, you can't see those listings unless you go to that broker. So at least they weighed in on continuation of the cooperation policy. So that's on the National Association of Realtors side, what's going on a national basis, what we're hearing. Okay. Now to Indiana Association of Realtors. There was a new FCC rule that was proposed for robocalls and texts, where you had to have one-to-one consent before you could call somebody with a robocall or call somebody with a text. That has been postponed. So that did not get implemented. It was to go into effect on January 27th. The FCC postponed that. They postponed it until further notice, which could be as late as January 26, 2026, so a year from now. But it could happen anytime between now and then. And basically, the rule, here's how it went. Companies must obtain explicit consent from consumers to receive automated calls and texts from your company using an automated telephone dialing system, or to send artificial or pre-recorded voice messages. Okay, so I would love for this rule to go into effect, because look at all the robocalls, spam calls that we get every day on our phone. But we could be guilty of that if we're using software to do that in our business. And there are some platforms out there that offer just that, pre-recorded voice messages that are delivered to a phone number. You would have to have explicit consent before you could send that. The second thing is you may not assume consent if consumers have opted into contacts from a third party. So for example, buying a prospect list from a real estate platform or lead generation service doesn't transfer the consumer's prior consent to receive automated communications. You must obtain a specific one-to-one consent. So you can see it's pretty restrictive for reaching out even to a list that you might buy or leads that you might get. Brokerages should also ensure that consent disclosures are clear about the types of communications consumer can expect, and that the automated messages remain substantively relevant to the initial contact with the consumer. NAR is doing a webinar on that, and it's going to take place on Tuesday, January 28th. You should have gotten an email about that and information for how to sign up for that webinar. Just if you're interested in doing that kind of communications. Now, most of the time, what we're doing is we're with a buyer and with a seller, we're getting that consent when we have them sign our buyer brokerage or the agency agreement, Realty World agency agreement. In that agreement, we're getting their permission to contact them by phone, text, email, etc. Okay, then the final thing coming from MIBOR concerning the BLC, there are new and improved CMA themes. So they've worked on the theme part of it, not on square footage calculations, but well, there are now new themes. So once you do a CMA using the BLC CMA tool, you'll have multiple themes that you can choose to determine how that's going to visually be presented to your client. So you have different themes that you can choose from, and you can preview those themes. We'll have a little training session on that coming up. I haven't had a chance to play with it myself, but we'll have a little training session on that. Looks like it's pretty easy to use. And then once you've selected your theme, you can view it, you can print it, you can save it, you can email it to your client. So you have easy ways to pass that on. So just so that you know that, and again, you should have seen this in your communication from MIBOR. The other thing that maybe is more important is, okay, so you know how you used to search by areas, like 2910 is Carmel, and 2911 is Fishers, Delaware Township, and 2912 is Fishers, Fall Creek Township. Okay, those area numbers are going away. So those will no longer be there. So you won't be able to search by area number. Now, if you do search by area number, you will only see old listings. You won't see anything current. So here's basically what they said. The MIBOR Board of Directors voted to consolidate the areas to the county township level in the BLC, removing all outlier areas. Searching by an area number will still pull historical listings, but new listings will not include this information going forward. So you will probably need to search in the future by township rather than by that area number that we used to search by. So you just need to be aware of that. And if you have any searches out there running that use area numbers, you might want to change those to townships because you won't see any new listings.
Is that the zip code? Is that the zip code? Is that the zip codes?
Not the zip code. No, it's those old area numbers. You know, like 4903. Okay, so 4903 was Washington Township, Marion County. 2910 is Carmel, Clay Township. Okay.
I don't know them, so I don't use them.
Okay. Well, if you haven't been using them, you don't have to worry anything about it. But anybody that's been in real estate for a while, you tended to use those numbers uh, in searches. So you won't be able to do that. And the reason that they're doing this isn't just to be hard to get along with. The concern comes from, this is exactly what they say, that this concern comes from the similarities between areas and the mid-century practice of redlining, a discriminatory method of sectioning off counties for lending purposes. Over time, area numbers became a method of indexing reference in printed MLS books, and today you may use it as shorthand in searches. However, there is still potential for adverse effects on your buyers. So that's why they're getting rid of it. Everybody's afraid of lawsuits, including MIBOR and BLC. So just so that you know, so if you've been using those, stop. If you haven't been using them, don't worry about it. You won't notice any different. Yesterday, I don't know, were any of you, yesterday was a session by John Rays on AI and video in real estate. Did anybody attend that? Unmute yourself and say if you attended.
No, I did.
Nobody attended. Okay, I did. I think there's going to be a third version of it that I highly recommend you attend, if nothing else, so that you get a feel for what is available. However, he's making his program available very inexpensively. I bought his program yesterday, so I will have additional information to pass on to you. But if you want your own access to the program, you'll need to buy the program yourself. But I will pass along information to you that I learned going through the program. Basically, what he said right at the beginning of his presentation is, if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. And so, what he's talking about is what you're doing in your real estate business needs to make you money. And if it doesn't make you money, then it doesn't make any sense to be doing it. And it's as simple as that. And one of the things that I found out, for instance, years ago when I was associated with the FC Tucker Company, I went through their training, and they told us in training that the way to build your business is through doing open houses. And so I became the open house king. I did two open houses every Sunday. I did one open house every Saturday. And sometimes I did an open house during the week on a Wednesday or a Thursday. That's how many open houses I did. And I did a ton of open houses. All right. How many prospects do you think I got from those? Not very many. And after a while, even though I got some, I did. At one open house, it actually wasn't the open house as much as it was what I did after. What I did after the open house was I did open houses at 3 other properties that were on the market that were nearby. And so when people came through, I gave them a little sheet saying, I'm doing open houses at these properties after this. So if you would like to go to those open houses, just show up here at this property at the end, and I'll take you to those properties and show those to you as well. And I had someone who took me up on that, and I showed them houses, and I got them as a client, and I sold 2 houses that they own, and I purchased 2 houses for them, and they gave me their neighbor as a referral transaction, and he talks me up everywhere I go. So I got five transactions plus whatever referrals I get from them, all because I met them in an open house. But I can tell you, for the amount of time that I spent doing open houses, it wasn't worth it. And that led to, toward the end, I just didn't do open houses anymore. It was a waste of my time. because it didn't make me money. Time is money. And I realized I can be doing something else that will generate more income for me than sitting in an open house for, 2 hours, and the planning that goes into an open house that I'm going to sit in for 2 hours. And so I figured I could do something different, and so I did. And that is, I started mining my database for business. I started building a referral-based business instead of going after strangers in open houses. So that's one of the things that didn't make sense to me, was spending all that time and effort and even money, because it did cost me some money to do that. It just didn't make sense because it didn't make me money. Video marketing is the up and coming thing, and you've heard me talk about this numerous times. And one of the things that I really want to see is every single one of you to have a YouTube channel and to start using it, because I really think that's the future of our business, not just for getting strangers, but for communicating with your database, with your sphere of influence, for uh, uh, generating business for yourself. You need to be growing your database constantly. So if you say I have a referral-based business, if you're not adding to your database, then your referral-based business is gradually going to decline over time. Why is that? Because people die, or people move away, or people, for whatever the situations change and they switch realtors, and you get less and less business. So you have to always be adding new people to your database that can be part of that referral team for you. And one way to do that is through video marketing. And it's becoming easier and easier to do, but it's also becoming more and more important to do. And one of the things that I can help you with is, if you have a YouTube video channel, if you would send me the link to your channel, I will go on there, follow your channel, and I will view and like the videos that you post there. And that will give you um, better search visibility, because people are doing that. And I would encourage actually our whole real estate group to do that. So maybe send that link out for your YouTube channel to everyone. Then everyone go there and follow and click notifications so that you're notified when a new video pulls up. Then watch that video. Help your fellow agent out by watching that video and liking it, and maybe even making a comment. All of those things will help that agent. One of the things that John Ray said is that we need to constantly evolve. And so in the old days, it was print, maybe we mailed things out. We did, newsletters by mail. And that's how we reached out to people. But that's not how people work nowadays. People are increasingly video focused, increasingly what you see is what you get, kind of thing. I mean, look at the furor over the potential of TikTok being closed. I mean, thousands of people were up in arms about that. Yes. Hi.
I'm looking to, I dropped off an earnings check a week ago or two. I was trying to get a copy of it, or take a picture of it for my mortgage. They want a copy of it.
Okay, I don't have it with me, a copy of that, but I could send one to you.
Please.
What's your name?
My name is Noah Stewart, Noah.
Noah.
Last name Stewart.
Or Stewart. Okay, and your email, Noah?
Stewart.Noah. Sorry for anybody.
That's all right. At Gmail.
Yep.
All right. I'll take care of that.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
Sure, my pleasure. You too. Okay, so that was somebody's client, Noah Stewart, who dropped off an earnest money check the other day, and he wanted a copy of that check. So I will send that to him. Okay, so I always keep a copy of the check, and I would encourage you to as well. That's why when an earnest money check here is left at the office, I always make a copy of it, and then I take a picture of that copy and send it to you, so that you could do that as well if a client requests it. At any rate, and I wanted to continue on here. So it's important that we evolve. As a real estate agent, we don't want to be like Blockbuster. I mean, we all know what happened to Blockbuster, right? When was the last time you went to a Blockbuster store? Raise your hand if you went to a Blockbuster store in recent history. I don't think so. There aren't any Blockbuster stores to go to, and yet they were on every corner just about. So what happened to Blockbuster? They didn't evolve. And believe it or not, Blockbuster was offered the opportunity to purchase Netflix. Netflix tried to get Blockbuster to invest in Netflix, and Blockbuster laughed at them. Who's got the last laugh? Blockbuster's out of business. Netflix is billions of dollars in revenue and growing. So we all know that Blockbuster didn't evolve. Netflix did. You see the result. We need to be the same way, or we could, as a real estate broker, we could end up being just like Blockbuster, not getting any business or getting less and less business because we refuse to embrace video. Now, one of the things he talked about here, and I'm almost out of time, he talked about doing a 30 to 60 second introduction video. And this is a video of you on camera, just introducing yourself. And he has a technique for, for putting this video together. It's only 30 to 60 seconds long. And you're going to start out, why you should work with me. For instance, if you're watching this video, you're probably interested in buying or selling homes, or if you're watching this video, chances are you already know a real estate agent of some kind. Here's why you should know me. And so you talk about that in video, and you make 30 to 60 second video, and then you can send that video to people that you're first doing business with. So as you're growing your database, and you're trying to build a referral-based business, and so someone gives you the name of someone to contact or reach out to, you can send them that 30 to 60 second video or the link to it. You don't have to send them the actual video. You send them the link to your channel, and they can go there, and that's an introduction of you to them. So that's something that you can do. And I'll tell you what, Greg Luther, who is one of the sales coaches, real estate coaches that I follow. He's a fellow that's over in Ohio. Man, he's a real believer in this as well. However, in his program and his coaching, he wants to sell you a video that costs thousands of dollars. Thousands. And I don't think you need to spend thousands of dollars to get a video that will work. We're going to be talking about more of that. The final thing I want to talk about, two things, and just as a high level, video walkthroughs of your property are going to be another important thing to do. Instead of the virtual tour, which is silent and doesn't do any selling, doing a video walkthrough at your property could be an outstanding way to point out the features and benefits of a particular property. And I can tell you that I experienced this when my son was interested in purchasing a yacht. And I ran into some yacht brokerage companies that did an outstanding job of presenting their yachts for sale. And what they did is they had one of their salespeople stand and they videoed the salesperson going through the yacht, showing the yacht, pointing out all the features, the nice woodwork, this storage compartment, that storage compartment. They had, they pointed all that out, and it was really cool because you got this personal tour of the property. Well, you can do the same thing with a home. You can do a personal tour where you're showing and highlighting the features of that property. And so I think we need to do more of that. And I think we need to think more about how to do those video walkthroughs. The last thing I'd like to say is that you can use ChatGPT to develop a lot of the content for your videos. Content is key because if you don't have good content, people won't want to watch your videos. So you can generate content using ChatGPT. There's some prompts that I'll be giving you to be able to do that, and you can use just the free version of ChatGPT to do that. And you can generate a script to do a simple video, and you can do these short videos that will be appealing to buyers and sellers of homes, and post them like weekly on your YouTube channel. And it's not going to take a lot of your time because you're going to get ChatGPT involved in doing this. And if you know the right prompts, you just ask the ChatGPT to write the material for you, and then you just read it. Now you have to practice reading it a couple of times to make it fluent, but you just read it on camera, and that can be the way that you do your video. So videos are the coming thing, and I'll have more information to share with you about how you can use video in your real estate business coming up. And so I'm going to stop the recording at this point.